Um, I'd say love is the greatest gift that we as humans have received from our higher source. I'm going to say my personal higher source. I can't speak for anybody else's religious or spiritual background. But what I've seen is positivity, enthusiasm, and love and passion for what you do. You will never work a day in your life. And it's not just in the day-to-day things that you do. If you find little bits of love and you put your love into things, you will actually get so much fulfillment for it. And what ensures that we keep getting more and more, what gives us abundance is gratitude. And when you operate from a space of love, you are going to be filled with so much gratitude that waking up and going to that job that you think you hate, you may hate it, you really may. I've had those. But I found joyous things that I loved for me. And I was grateful for those small things, those small avenues. And I didn't suffer through things as much as I would have if I looked at the negative space. So nothing beats a positive attitude. And nothing beats giving everything that you do, no matter how small you may think it is. Give it 100%. Give some love on it, because it comes through and the person receiving it really does see your passion and they appreciate it more. And it's just even in the way that you treat people. People will never forget, the things, will forget the things that you do, the things that you say to them, but they'll never forget how you make them feel. And that's a great basis to actually just go through life living. How do you make people feel when they leave your space, when they leave your business, when they experience your product, your service? How did that make them feel? That's going to keep you in their memory. And that's where, lifelong relationships, partnerships, collaborations that elevate us really, really, really come into play. Alrighty, my name is Felicity Lerato Molokomme. I'm born and bred from Tladi, Soweto. So I'm a Soweto girl. Everybody calls me Miss Lovely. I describe myself as a creative entrepreneur. I'm an interior designer, I'm a digital marketer, I'm a decorator, I'm an interior stylist. So I wear many hats. And yeah, that's basically how I live my life. Started this journey 3 years ago on my own, and it's really growing to be bigger than me. I've always known that I was a creative child, that I was a little different. I've always had an extroverted personality. So from creche, I was always doing weird things. When I was in primary school, all I knew was I wasn't going to sit in an office all day. I didn't know what that career was. But we had great guidance counselors, and we had a lot of varsity students that would come over to our high school in grade 7, when we had to start thinking about the subject choices we needed to make. That's when I knew maths and science wasn't for me. And it's okay for it not to be for you, because it's not the career path that I wanted. I knew I was going to go in the creative spectrum. In grade 8, we had people that would come through from all different varsities, and that's when I learned of interior design. I was always that child that thought about feng shui before I knew what feng shui was, moving things around. I loved beautiful spaces. So that was a big factor. I didn't know that there was a career that you could get paid to make beautiful spaces. So I knew from grade 8 that design was going to be my life. It was design or architecture. Now, I'm not a technical person, so that's not an avenue I went to. I wanted to be more expressive, more creative. And that's what I based my subject choice on. So as soon as I got to grade 9, definitely dropped maths and science, art history, business economics. I knew that I wanted to work for myself and to build a career for myself. There's a lot I learned about the industry later on. It's something they don't tell you in guidance class, but the lessons have been incredible. So by matric, I didn't even have a plan B when you have to apply for universities. I knew exactly which schools I wanted to apply to. I did the bursary looking. Unfortunately, in my field, bursaries aren't out there. So I already knew that I needed to compromise in terms of the path that I wanted to study or the institution that I wanted. But it was actually a great learning experience. University of Johannesburg was fantastic. I learned a lot of learning in there. And yeah, it was a bit unconventional. Everybody was a little confused because they didn't understand what I wanted to do. And my point of reference was top billing. If you know top billing, that's what I'm going to do. It's a lot bigger and more detailed than that, but that's the journey that it's taken me on, and I'm super happy where I am now. Varsity was a lot of learning, a lot of shock to the system, because you may have one idea of an industry before you enter into it, and you realize that, okay, high school has helped a bit. Like, I did the right subjects, I did art, so I had that background, history, business economics, and luckily those are the subjects that I did study. Those are some of the modules that I did study in interior design. But there were other things I overlooked, like technical drawing. That was learning for me. When we first did our entrance requirements, we were required to build a model. That was challenging. That subject challenged me all throughout my 3-year national diploma. But we also had to do a still painting, just to see your creative outlook and your creative finesse. So I think I was very good with the creative side. The technical side was something I learned, and it's a factor that I'm still mastering, and I'm actually an expert in the field now, if I do say so myself. So our subjects included, materials and finishes, which was an eye-opener, because you walk into spaces and you walk into things and you don't actually think about the composition or the makeup of them. So that was interesting. And then, the history of art, just being able to read and master and learn and memorize things, just knowing where the core or the beginning of things is. That's super important. The challenges that I had, as I mentioned, the technical aspect. I'm a creative soul, so doing technical detailing, CAD drawings, that was challenging throughout my varsity years, but we definitely got to the end of it. And the time constraints, lots of deadlines. It is a high pressure environment, and I think they prepare you well for the industry, because even when you are currently working, building a restaurant, building a store, which is something that I do now quite often, there's a lot of technical details that people aren't privy to, and people just think it happens. But actually, there's a lot of time that you need, and lots of sleepless nights. So if there's one thing studying interior design prepared me for, was lack of sleep, but definitely powering through all that. And I think they did get you business ready. They did get you ready for the industry. Another challenge was, I had never experienced racial differences until I got to varsity. And it became apparent to me that there's actually a gap. There's an opening for the Black African child to make it in this industry. The industry is opening up. I'm seeing a lot of amazing designers come to the forefront, whether it is in the technical industrial design field with making furniture items, or architects, or even in interior design. And there's a big gap. When I looked at the numbers, even within our classes, when you're in a class of 29 students, with there being only 2 Black students and two Black females, I feel like this industry could open up a lot for even the male African child to say, it's not an industry that is limited. You could really do anything, and we're ready when we're open, and we want more, Black children to love and find interior design. Well, this journey started in 2006, so it's been over 10 years of journey, and I think I've had a very colorful career and a lot of amazing job opportunities that were character building, I'll call them that. So my first employment opportunity was such a blessing. One of my lecturers actually hooked me up with a previous student, and it was an amazing design and branding company. I got to work on a variety of campaigns. I got exposed to so many facets of interior design, and it was the best 2.5 years of my life. And then I opted to move and explore, to go, spread my wings and go into a field that I was passionate about, which was creating my own furniture range, and actually going into the industrial design aspect of interior design. I had a shock to the system when the company that I moved to went insolvent within my first week of employment. So I left my company and I got to this new company, and there was nothing there. They literally closed the gates, and I was in a head spinning panic because I had to find a new job. I had to find a way to support myself and to contribute to support my family. And that's when you actually go into, I think the next job opportunity was a bit challenging, because you just get a job for the sake of getting a job without really researching it. And it was it was for a retail company. I'm not going to mention which one. Great people, but that experience working in retail and opening chain stores, so a company that's got a lot of franchises, it was high pressure. It was a whole new facet of management that I think in my early career was thrust into. Grateful for the opportunity, but it built character, and then after that I went into a field that I didn't even know existed. There's a field for commercial kitchens, so it's the part that you don't see when you go to a beautiful restaurant, not the beautiful part of the back, where nobody actually sees it. And that was also character building. My technical levels were challenged and elevated in the year plus that I spent in that company. It wasn't creative, it wasn't challenging mentally, but it did teach me, it bettered me. And at the time, I didn't understand why I had to stay in that company with all those challenges, and not feeling inspired, not feeling like I was growing. But I'm so grateful for my time there, because for me to come out of that and go to the next company that I went to, where I was an anomaly, the skills that I learned in that field made me sought after, made me, everybody wanted to work with me because I had a technical skill that everybody else didn't have. And I think sometimes we have to be so grateful and aware of things that don't seem like what we need, but it is actually the very thing you need that can take you to the next level. And I got to a point where the last company I worked for, I was there for 2.5 years, and I came in as a mid-level designer. And when I eventually did transition out of there, I was a senior executive managing 3 different brands. So it just shows you that the journey can take long, like a 10-year journey, and then it can elevate you in what people see as a short amount of time. It's actually what you need to get to a high point, because you've gotten such great experience, to the point that it even gave me the confidence to say, I can actually do this on my own. I'm capable, and I can then actually decide that I don't have to stay in this office and be a typical executive. I can go design the life that I want, which is what I've done with, my company, Lovely Concepts, which I've been running for the past 3 years. So currently I would, describe myself as an interior design executive. I am the principal owner and lead designer of Lovely Concepts. It's a company specializing in restaurant and retail design. So over the past 3 years, I've worked on a variety of really amazing projects with some great clients. So it's got a freelance aspect to it, in that I get called in to big design companies that probably have an overflow of work, and they need somebody to assist them either on a creative, conceptual aspect or the technical aspect. So I've stepped in to either work remotely, which means working from my home office, to assist those companies get their design deadlines done or complete their designs, or working in-house. So my design day is basically, each day is different. I am so blessed that I get to work on projects that I'm passionate about, really beautiful spaces. I've worked on everything, scoping from a beautiful beauty nail bar to, a bakery, to large chain restaurants. And that's been something that's been super rewarding. I've made some incredible connections, working alongside quite talented and capable project managers and other interior designers or architects who basically use my services so I can assist them just to ensure that the client gets everything that they want. So a typical day, I'm normally up by 7:30. I take about an hour for personal time. Being a business owner has taught me that personal development is a necessary factor. I think when you are an employee, you get caught up in the routine of going in, clocking in at a certain time, clocking out at a certain time, having lunchtime. When you're self-employed, nobody tells you what time to have lunch, what time to wake up, what time to knock off. You are in charge of you, and you are in charge of elevating your business to the next level. So you have to take time to read, to get better, to check out some podcasts, to do your meditations and affirmations. Networking is also such a major tool for building and continuing to grow your business. I'm grateful that in the years that I was working, I was able to at least interact with and meet a lot of people who, now that I'm self-employed, can actually come to me because they remember the level of my skill, my capabilities when I was employed. And I think that's the most important thing, putting your best foot forward all the time, being the one who outworks everyone. When I worked, the biggest challenge was always being, the last person to leave the office. And that's just because I never wanted, not that you don't want people to complain about your work, but perfecting something or being a perfectionist on that level was super important to me. And it's really paid off because people struggle when they're self-employed to get clients, to build their market. It's not enough to have a great Instagram page. You're only as good as your last project. And it's got to be something that knocks people's socks off. The technicalities that you have, you can't let clients down when it comes to doing technical drawings. When you interact with builders and contractors on site, they have to be able to read your plans and build and decipher something that's so amazing from that concept. And I think mastering that tool and working at it every day. So you have to go out and network, see what other people in the industry are doing, go to these shows and interact, get your name out there. Don't be shy to let people know who you are, because even whether you're employed full-time, if you're just a face in the office and you knock off at 5 and you come in at 8 and you're not about mingling, when you decide to do something for yourself, whether it's a side projects, which a lot of interior designers do while they're working full-time, nobody will know who you are. So personality definitely plays a big role. And it's not enough just to be charismatic and capable. you have to be, charismatic, you have to be capable. And capable to the point that you're better than the rest. And I think that's the beautiful thing that I've experienced. Yes, there are challenges in running your business. Sometimes clients pay their invoices late, or somebody isn't quite fully happy with the vision that you have for their store or their restaurant, and they may delay payments, or you might have to prolong the project a bit longer than what you've expected. You do possibly have to look into other streams of income. They can be aligned with the business that you have. As an interior designer, having a furniture range is something that I'm definitely looking into. Having a decorative range of, softs like scatter cushions, bedding, curtaining. That's not something I'm personally perfect in, but it's something I definitely had to look to and to say, who can I partner up with and collaborate with? You have to know who's doing what. There are some amazing graphic designers who could do some incredible things to enhance your designs. There are some incredible furniture manufacturers that you could use in your designs to give other people a platform. And I think that's been the most important thing of elevating, the African designer. 3 years into my business now, I've gotten to a steady place in my business that I've also just hired a young interior design graduate, a beautiful Black female who is so incredible and so passionate about this industry. And you only learn so much while you're studying. The real learning comes in the experience that you have in actually doing the work on the day-to-day. So we're currently working on a huge hotel in Zambia. And I think she's learning a lot. I'm also learning a lot about, you can manage staff, but when you are the boss and you have your own staff and those administrative duties, a lot of creatives get lost in that. You don't think about administration. I'll be the first to admit that admin is not my thing, but being a business owner, it's been something that I've had to actually get a handle on, and I've had to actually ask for help and find collaborators who are skilled in administration, in finance, in balancing books, because it's not something I do. And that expands you as a person. You should always be learning. You should always be growing, and be open. That's the biggest thing. Oh my goodness. I have this incredible vision for my company first of all, I'm going to be a mogul. Because currently, being an entrepreneur, you realize, and that's why I said I regard myself as a creative entrepreneur. You have to get creative with the streams of income that you have. And interior design is definitely my first love. It's my passion. But I see my design studio employing so many young, vibrant designers, and it being a platform where different creative arts can actually shine. So collaboration is a big factor to me, and I see my company being in several cities, not just in South Africa, but throughout the continent, and also in Europe or the US. I know that a lot of South African interior designers are shaking it up out there. Mama Esther Mahlangu doing incredible things with her Ndebele artwork. Makosa is also doing incredible things. So our African voice is being heard and is wanted by the world. And I think there's so many things that we can do within this platform of the creative arts, of the technical arts, and using interior design as a platform. So that's definitely where I want to go. I definitely see myself empowering a lot of young, what we would call previously disadvantaged, or students or people build in this industry, to say that it's a field that people don't look at, but come through. Design is incredible, and it can do a lot for you. So I think that's where I see my business.